Hello, everyone. Welcome to Daily Dose of Stamping Therapy. It is officially Friday now. I know that all day Wednesday, I kept thinking the next day was Friday. All day yesterday, I even thought it felt like Friday. But here we are. Today is officially Friday. So I was just going to chat with you guys a little bit as we round out the end of this week. And I'm done with Paper Pumpkin because we finished that yesterday. So if you want to check out the May Paper Pumpkin kit, then you can go back to yesterday's Daily Dose of Stamping Therapy and see all the samples of that. I will also be posting pictures of all of those on my blog, laurastamppad.com, so you can check those out there. Hopefully those will be going up next week. So yesterday I also asked you guys if you had any questions or if you had any ideas for things that you wanted me to do today for Daily Dose of Stamping Therapy. So we're going to do a little Q&A. Hi Valerie, welcome. As you're jumping on, say hello so I can say hello to you and give you a little shout out, know who I'm talking to. And if you have any questions along the way, feel free to ask them. Anything about Stampin' Up! Products, anything about crafting, anything about my stamp room, anything about being a demonstrator, anything like that. I would love to answer those questions for you. And I have a couple questions from yesterday that I'm going to answer with you guys today. So one of the questions was inspiration. And where do you get inspired, and how do you get the creative bug? So there are a couple things that I will say. There are definitely days that I am not creative whatsoever, and those are the days that I do all of my other work. I do my blog, I take photos, I work on other things and don't sit back there and try to create, because there's going to be days that you're just not feeling it. One of the other things that's been really hard for me during this stay-at-home order is that I don't have a large chunk of time to be able to get creative. So it's really hard to force creativity and say, sit down, be creative. I don't know, it doesn't work for me. But I will say one evening I came down here and I knew that I had, the rest of the evening because Claire was going to bed. And I turned on some music, my favorite music. So just kind of listened to that, sat down, pulled out a couple stamp sets, and I actually was really creative and felt like I was actually getting somewhere with making some cards and stuff with some of the new product. So relaxing, playing some music, and just kind of getting the feel for it would be my biggest suggestion. One of the other things is I look at other samples. Now, this can be a help or a hindrance because you can easily get lost in Pinterest or blogs or YouTube or anything like that, and all of a sudden 3 hours go by, it's time for bed, and you didn't get any crafting done. So some of that I would say be careful on. Anytime you have a little bit of time, then you can always scroll through and find a couple of your favorite things. And then whenever you go to sit down to craft, then you already have those selected out. So that's another thing. I know sometimes whenever I'm looking at Facebook or I'm looking through Pinterest, I find a whole bunch of ideas and I'm like, oh, I can't wait to get down to my stamp room. I just need to start crafting because I want to do this and I want to do this and I have this idea, and things go crazy. One of the things that I do on Pinterest is I research things based off of the stamp set. So if the stamp set is called Mountain Air, then I would do Mountain Air Stampin' Up. Or a lot of times words kind of pop up and I'm like, ooh, that's a good one. Like Mountain Air Masculine card or Mountain Air greeting card, So a lot of times stuff does pop up, but otherwise if you type, Mountain Air, which is the name of the stamp set, and then Stampin' Up, then you're going to get oodles and oodles of ideas using that stamp set. Now, for some reason, other things tend to creep in and you wonder what that has to do with Mountain Air stamp set. But don't ask me. That's the crazy algorithms of the internet. So I have no idea on that. One of the other things, if you don't want to get in on the internet and like get lost in everything, is look through your catalog. I go through the catalog all the time, finding stuff that I never saw before, finding a sample that I really like, and redoing it in a different way. So, for example, let me just find, like, okay, you guys all know I love flower stamp sets. I do not actually own this stamp set. This is the Tropical Oasis stamp, or Timeless Tropical. So this is the stamp set here. I don't actually own this stamp set, but you guys all know I own a million flower stamps. But I could use a flower stamp or any sort of die cut image and create a card like this. Like, I think that's absolutely stunning, where rather than having the greeting popped up on a piece of punched out Whisper White or die cut Whisper White, instead it's actually like peekaboo through the front cardstock. So I would then just take that card and do a similar thing and add, instead of flowers, add some sort of die cut and get a very similar look. So use your catalog to be able to spark that inspiration. If anything, don't look at the product, just look at the pictures and find the pictures that you like. And then, you know, maybe you'll find that you really need that stamp set or need that specific product, but there's also a lot of ways to be able to get that same thing achieved with what you already have. A couple other things is to go through your stamp sets, find a stamp set you haven't used, or find a stamp set you love, and pull that down, and then just sit down, grab some cardstock, lay it out in front of you, and like just kind of let your mind flow. Again, having that music the other night really helped me get centered. I felt like it sort of drowned out everything else, and I was focusing on the music, so I wasn't thinking I should be doing this, I need to do that, don't forget to put that on a to-do list, don't forget that you still need to get food out for dinner tomorrow night. You know, all of those like thoughts were sort of pushed aside because I was focusing on the music, and then I was able to just create. So sometimes like pulling yourself away from all of those distractions is a good tip for getting creative. And then of course, like there are times that I copy something exactly, and then there's times that I modify with whatever I have. Like, I love that, but I don't like the ribbon. I love that, but I don't have that stamp set, or whatever that might be. So I hope that kind of gives you a little bit of inspiration on how to get creative without feeling overwhelmed. One of the other things for me is I don't like a cluttered desk. Whenever things are cluttered and messy, I just feel so overwhelmed by the mess that I can't focus. So that was definitely another problem I was having. And when I finally clean off my entire desk, and that might mean putting away what you're working on and just starting fresh, like just put it all away and then pull it back out all again, because that sort of like refreshes your mind, starts at a blank slate, and then you can get started again. Because sometimes whenever you're looking at stuff and you're trying to make it work, you can't really like force creativity. So yeah, my biggest tip is to find something inspiring, get yourself focused, and try not to push it. If you sit down and you're not focused, maybe that's the time that you flip through the catalog and put little Post-it notes next to items that you like, or cards that you find really cute, or cute, special, fabulous, I don't know, whatever you want to use as your adjective for that. But yeah, any of those things would work for sparking creativity. If you become a demonstrator, what is the discount you get on products? When you first sign up to be a demonstrator, you get a 20% discount. So what that means is, like, if I were to buy $100 in product, then I would only pay Stampin' Up! $80 for that order. As you go on and increase both your sales, and then as you start to have people signed up below you, if you get any downline, then you start to advance in levels and you can start to earn more income. So when you hit the bronze elite level, which of course now I'm kind of going blank on what the sales is on that. I want to say it's like $1,500. So once you sell $1,500, then it bumps up to 25%. But again, there's all of those like increments that can slowly make it be more and more and more. Hi, Laura. Happy Friday. Welcome to Daily Dose of Stamping Therapy. One of the other things I wanted to show you is some happy mail that I got this week. So this is using some new products from the upcoming catalog. So fabulous die cuts with that circle frame wreath, however you want to say that. And then a little twig, the little birdie, and then flowers. You guys all know how much I love flowers. And it says, sometimes there are no words. Know that I love you, or know that I love and care about you. So this one was from, this is a swap card from the fabulous Mary Ellen. So I'll have lots of swap cards coming in soon, showcasing new catalog product, which I absolutely love that because it gives me a chance to branch out to things that I might not gravitate towards. So you guys all know how I love bling, I love pink, I love flowers. But if that's not for you, then swap cards are perfect because somebody else that I'm swapping ideas with might be like, you know, they might be more rustic. They might be more watercolor, splish splash, like, because I like things to be more like contained and stuff. And so I can still share those samples because it's okay that we all, you know, don't like something or that we all have different tastes and everything. There's nothing wrong with that. There's no right or wrong way to be creative and craft. Hi, Susan. Happy Friday to you as well. This one I thought was super, super cute. So this one I got from one of my customers, and it's so cute with that cooped up because, well, we're all cooped up right now. But yeah, it's got that fun chicken wire. It is a retired item, so Stampin' Up! No longer carries that, but it's still a fabulous card that she made for me. But it's got that shine to it, and then the little chicken behind it that she colored. And then this one is another card that I got, and this piece here is actually from a paper pumpkin kit, I think. And on the back side, it's like all shades of like pink down to orange, like an ombre effect. But she just flipped it over because it's white on the back side. And so it gives that really super cute look. So that's like another way to be able to use Stampin' Up's kits, but use it in your own way if that's not the look that you like or that you prefer to stamp with. Appropriate for the times. I know, isn't it? It's so cute. And she just wrote that. So there's not like a stamp set or anything. She just wrote that with her own handwriting. So that's definitely something that is doable. You can always like write it. If you know calligraphy, I would love to do calligraphy, but I don't know that I have the patience to learn calligraphy. And you really just have to have that soft hand. And again, I'm like too stiff and jerky that I don't know that I can have that fabulous flow of calligraphy. But yeah, if you do calligraphy, let me know, and let me know if you have any tips or anything for someone who would like to do calligraphy but not so sure. If you're just jumping on, welcome to Daily Dose of Stamping Therapy and happy Friday. I'm so excited that it's finally going to be the weekend. And I'm definitely going to clean up my entire stamp room so that I have a fresh start next week because, like I said earlier, I find that I work really well on like a clean slate and everything. And I have a lot of projects that I need to work on. So I also work very well with list making because I feel like once I write it on a list, I get it out of my mind. And then I can actually like focus on the list or know what I need to do next. So if you guys have any questions, I'm sort of doing a Q&A based off of a couple questions that I got yesterday. But yeah, let me know if you have any questions about anything in the comments, and I will try to answer those as well. If you're watching the replay or you're watching this on YouTube, feel free to leave me questions, and I'll answer it either on a future video or I'll answer it right there in the comments for you. So that was one of the things. One of the other things that you guys wanted information on, and I'll show this probably more next week too, because I'll be able to work on it while chit-chatting with you guys. But that is preparing for card making. So of course I'm preparing for classes and big events. So I'm doing, a lot. And maybe that's not something that you do. But one of the things that I will say is making multiples is always easier than making one and making 5 different cards. Like, it's so much easier to make 5 of one card, but actually you should make 6 because that's an even number. But it's easier to make multiples of one card than it is to make a million different cards, because then you have to come up with all of those ideas, get out all of those supplies, and go through all of that. Now, it's super fun to do that, and I'm not saying that you shouldn't do that, but what I would say is to make 2 of every card. And the reason why I say that is because a piece of cardstock makes 2 card bases with 1 cut. So you might as well make 2 cards and get the most out of that. So here is some of the new Misty Moonlight. This is the new in color. So you can actually cut your card base to be either in half this way and go down, which makes it at 4 1/4. So then it's 4 1/4 by 11, which gives you 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. Or you can cut it in half going this way at 5 1/2, and then it makes it 5 1/2 by 8 1/2, which again makes a card front as 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. And that's what we call a regular size card or a full size card. So if you ever hear that term, then that's what that means, is just a half a sheet of cardstock. So whenever I cut this in half, I feel like every time I talk about all of this, I'm just like rapid fire saying the word half, because I'm like, cut it in half at 5 1/2, and then fold it in half. So now I have 2 cards. So that's why you should always make 2 of every single card, because you've already cut for it. So you might as well make the 2. You can always swap it a little bit. Like if you do, if you have the idea to do a yellow flower on it, maybe do a pink flower on the other one to mix it up. Or do the yellow flower, but put happy birthday and put happy anniversary. Or do the flower and add yellow ribbon and then add white ribbon. So you can always modify it a little bit, but still stick with that same concept. And again, that can be because you have 2 cards and you'll then bulk up your stash. I was getting ready to say both words at the same time. The other thing is you can play with it more and add that variation and see which one you like best. The other thing is this one's going to go in the mail to my friend who, just had a birthday. This one is going to be my sample to remember that I made that fabulous card, so that then I can make more like that later. So again, it's always great to make multiples at the same time. I'm glad you're enjoying it, Becky. Welcome. I haven't said hello to you yet. One of the other things about cutting is that a piece of Whisper White, so I typically do all of my cards based on 1/4 inches rather than 1/8 of an inch, but a 1/4 inch in makes it 4 by 5 1/4, and I actually can't hold this up because it's not going to fit. Here, I actually can. I can hold it like this. So when I'm cutting a piece of Whisper White, it gives me 4 pieces of 4 by 5 1/4. And then that piece layers on the inside of the card for that fabulous inside, but you can also use it on the front of the card for that fabulous look too. So again, I just cut this 1 sheet of Whisper White cardstock and I got 4 pieces, which means 1 for the inside, 1 for the front, 1 for the inside, 1 for the front. Here's my 2 cards, 2 pieces of cardstock. So how awesome is that? One of the other things that I did want to say before I forget, because I know I will whenever I get talking, in the description, I put down my my blog, laurastamppad.com, because I actually have a, when you join my mailing list, which I don't sell your information to anybody, I just send you emails like once or twice a month, let you know about deals and special offers and things. But when you sign up for that mailing list, you'll actually get a free card making cheat sheet. And it has all of these dimensions and everything on it. So that kind of gives you like a starter look at all of that. So it gives you that dimension of cutting your cardstock in half at 4 1/4 or in half at 5 1/2. It also gives you the dimensions for different layers and things like that too. So if you want, you can always join my mailing list and get that free card making cheat sheet. That will come right after you get signed up, so you guys can use that already this afternoon. So don't forget to check that out so that you have all of these dimensions. But of course, you could always rewatch this video too. So yeah, I've cut 2 pieces of cardstock, one white and one Misty Moonlight, and I already have enough supplies for 2 cards. So again, make 2 cards every time you make 1 card. Every time you go to make a card, always make at least 2 or more cards. If that makes any sense. Hi, Debbie. Welcome. I wanted to let you know that your order is supposed to arrive today, but you just never know when the UPS guy is going to stop by. So I will let you know when your order arrives. So then one of the other things that I do a lot of times is with your paper trimmer, this is the Stampin' Up! Paper trimmer, I can get 2 sheets of cardstock with every cut. So, you know, cutting multiples is also super helpful. And then anytime that I am making up like card kits or anything like that, I feel like I count 1,000,001 times. So depending on how many I need, I usually break that down so that I don't have to be thinking about and counting all of the time. A lot of times I like to, this doesn't happen as much anymore, but before I had Claire, I used to like rewatch movies and just watch YouTube and everything like that all the time while I was crafting, and it sort of like zoned me out and time just flew by. But it's kind of hard to focus on a movie if you're constantly counting, and then you're always losing track of your number and everything else. So depending on the number of cards that you're making, then break that down. So if I'm making 10, I break it down into 2 stacks of 5. If I'm making like, so I'm doing 160 right now, and so I broke it out into increments of 20. So each of those stacks is a stack of 20. And here, I'll try to turn you guys without shaking you too much so you can see that. Hi, Carolyn. Welcome. Move my water bottle out of the way. So I hope, can you guys see this? Maybe. So all of these are stacks of 20. And okay, yeah, there, now you can see it all. And those are all of the pieces for the card projects. So I have all of them in stacks of 20. I can see, do all of them have a stack of yellow? Yes. Do all of them have a stack of blue? No, because I still have cutting left to do. So another thing when you're making multiples is to do increments. One of the other things that I will say whenever I'm making multiples is I get bored very easily. So one of the things that I like to do is I will cut a whole bunch until I'm tired of cutting, and then I'll move on to another task. So I actually need to emboss each of these little green pieces. So I'm kind of sort of caught up on the cutting, and so now I'm going to start embossing. I guarantee that I'm going to get really tired of embossing, so I'm going to go back to cutting. So there's nothing wrong with mixing it up and moving to a different step each time, and then just slowly, as long as you're making it to the end. If I'm actually making a card, a lot of times I'll fold my card bases, and I might get tired of folding card bases, so I'll go back and I'll cut the next layer. And then I'll get tired of cutting and I'll go back to folding card bases. Until that, and then card bases are done, cutting is done, I'll go through and I'll stamp the, you know, the greeting, all of them, or until I get tired of doing that. Then I'll go back and I'll start working on a different project. So it just kind of depends on my boredom or like what I get tired of doing. I know it sounds so super crazy, but like my arm and shoulder is sometimes sore from sliding this back and forth whenever I'm cutting a ton of cardstock. So there's been times where I'm like, okay, time to move on to the next thing because my arm is getting sore. And I know that sounds like the craziest thing to say, my arm is sore from cutting cardstock, but what are you going to do? I mean, it is. I'm not going to lie. So yeah, there's that. Again, if you guys have any questions, I'm doing a little Q&A today based off of some questions I got yesterday. So if you have any questions about anything, Stampin' Up product, paper crafting, inspiration, being a demonstrator, or anything just generic about me, I'd love to answer all those questions for you guys. So let me know. If you're watching the replay, feel free to leave questions and we'll do another one of these. If you're watching on YouTube, same goes for you guys. If you have any questions about me, then I would love to answer those. So yeah, making multiples is definitely something that I do a lot. And I just kind of take it step by step because I don't want to get burnt out on a certain step or on the project as a whole. So I just kind of move to another level at that same time. The other awesome thing is like with this, I'm pretty sure I might be able to get 2 of these in the embossing folders. So then I'll only have to run it through 100 or 80 times instead of 160. But I'm not sure because it's like a thinner one. And the answer to that, I think, is no. So it's actually a thinner one. And I planned that wrong. So it looks like I will be cranking it through 160 times. And just popping it in, running it through the Big Shot. That might be what we do next week whenever I'm on. So definitely send in your questions so that I can sit here and chat with you guys and work on that. But I might also get it done this weekend. Just kind of depends on the weather and Claire and how long she naps. So yeah, again, like if you guys have any questions, then let me know. Let me double check and see if those were time-saving tips. So a couple time-saving tips is making the multiples, like I was mentioned before. And then one of my other big time-saving tips is cleaning up, because so often we can't find our stuff. And that's what takes so long. Or we don't know what we're going to craft. So then we get on Pinterest and then, 4 hours goes by. So getting a little bit more prepared before you sit down to craft, but also having a nice clean workspace helps, and being organized. I mean, I know I'm a super organized person and I really love organization. So it's easy for me sometimes, because I sometimes need to take my own advice. Look at that mess back there. But also, like, staying organized helps you know what you have. Know that you don't need to order that again, because how many times have we ordered 2 things and then found out that we already owned some of it and just didn't know that we did. But it also helps you be able to find your stuff and know what you have to be able to use it. So all of my stamp sets are up there, so I know that that's where all of them are. I don't have them in any sort of categories. I know some people like to categorize theirs based off of Christmas and holiday and happy birthday and different things like that. I don't do that because I feel like too many of them intermingle across a lot of different occasions. So I would find that very difficult to figure out which one do I think it should go on. Because, after all, like balloons and cake, like balloons can go for graduation, cake can go for wedding, but also they can all go for birthday. So it kind of goes around back and forth. Yes, I'm playing with my shoe because I need something to do with my hands, which I really should probably be cutting cardstock. But yeah, staying nice and organized is something that is good, because then, you walk into your stamp room and you're like, I need to create a birthday card, but this is a mess. So then you start cleaning. and then you realize you ran out of time and didn't have time to make that birthday card. Or you can't find anything and then you get frustrated and you lose your inspiration and it doesn't, it's not fun anymore. So when you lose that, then that's when you know you need to clean, organize, and help prepare yourself a little bit better. So don't worry, we've all been there. We all go through that where it's like, oh my gosh, I need to clean my stamp room. What is going on? So we've all been there. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just something we kind of need that random reminder for. Hi, Angie. Welcome from Texas. I bet it's hot down there. I know it's supposed to be like 70 some today, but it's also supposed to rain this afternoon. And Brad bought a kiddie pool this morning. So he's like, do you think we could get it out and put water in it? Which also, let me know if any of you guys have a kiddie pool. It's just one of those like plastic little baby kiddie pools. But like, rather than wasting water by filling it and like letting it out and filling it and letting it out every day possibly, is there any way, like, should you put like a little tarp over it to like keep bugs and stuff out? Because I also don't need a mosquito farm in my backyard because I absolutely hate mosquitoes and they love me, and I itch them like crazy. So we definitely don't need that. But let me know if you have any tips and ideas for keeping water in a kiddie pool so that you don't have to put it out every time, but that you don't have bugs and junk in it all the time either. So yeah, let me know if you have any ideas on that. You need to bunch them all together. Yeah, like I technically have mine in alphabetical order, which it works when I know the name of it and I'm like, oh yeah, and then I'm like, oh, it's not in the right spot. So that's kind of bummed, but like to specifically put them back in alphabetical order is kind of annoying sometimes. So like I put them back and I just kind of put them all at the end, or sometimes I put them back in the right spot. But yeah, it's kind of hard to keep up with that sometimes too. So like I said, even though I'm super organized, I also have a hard time, just making time to do that consistently. But yeah, if you have any questions about my stamp room or how I organize stuff, then just let me know. But you can also see a complete room tour of my stamp room on my YouTube channel. It's under the About Me, and you can see how my stamp room has evolved over time. I've only done one video because I haven't changed anything really here at the new place. I've been here since October, but I think I did at least 3 videos at the old place because of how much I changed things over time. I definitely didn't have all of this whenever I first started 16 years ago. Well, I didn't even live here 16 years ago, but you know what I mean. But yeah, I slowly collected things. I slowly changed things based on how I use them. While I find organization to be so fun, I think doing it for someone else is also difficult because everybody has a different preference. So like I love ribbon, so I want my ribbon to be easily accessible. Somebody else who doesn't care about ribbon but loves embellishments might want that more readily accessible. I actually have, so, my table is back there and my Big Shot station is actually right next to my laptop, right next to you guys. And some might think that that's too far away, but to me it works. Sometimes I bring my my Big Shot over there to actually work on it, but it's also right next to this table. So, and I don't feel like I use it on every single project. So I'm okay with that. But now like my punches I have fairly close by because I do actually use those a lot. And I would super like a chair with wheels so that I can lean back and get stuff, because right now I tilt back, and one, that's not a good example for Claire, even though she doesn't come down here whenever I'm working. But 2, I'm probably going to kill myself one of these days because I'm going to lean back and I'm going to hit my head or something like that. But who knows? So far it has worked, and hopefully I will have a chair with wheels soon. I just haven't found one that I like because I don't need it to be big, or otherwise it's not going to fit, or it's just going to make things a lot tighter back there. But then I also don't want it like super small and chintzy that like I fall over whenever I try to wheel it back or something. So eventually I'll find the perfect chair and get it. Maybe I have to actually go shopping for one and sit in them and things like that. I sat in a few at IKEA that were, reasonably priced and everything. But some of them also seemed a little chintzy. So I don't know. But anyway, that is everything I have right now. If you guys have any other questions, of course, some of the other topics that were left on yesterday's video were new products and new techniques. So stay tuned on that. I will show off a few more that I have. But of course, I don't have a lot of the new stuff from the new catalog because it wasn't in the demonstrator pre-order. So more of that will definitely be coming throughout the month of June. And we'll just kind of see how that goes. So stay tuned for all of that. I hope you guys all have a wonderful weekend. I hope the weather is somewhat cooperative for you to enjoy some time outdoors or a barbecue or something like that, so that we can actually still celebrate Memorial Day and not this crazy quarantine, kind of get our minds off of it a little bit. But yeah, I hope you guys all have a wonderful weekend. Don't forget that you can check me out on YouTube at Laura's Stamp Pad. That's my channel name. And then don't forget to check out my blog, laurastamppad.com, for lots of inspiration and card crafting ideas. And don't forget to sign up for the mailing list so that you can get that little cheat sheet with all of the dimensions and everything for card making. I will also have another email going out next week regarding the retiring products and the new catalog coming out. So stay tuned for that. Trust me, I'm not going to be spamming you with emails whenever you sign up for my mailing list, because I don't really have a lot of time to send out a lot of emails. So don't worry. It's usually like once or twice a month. So I won't be spamming you. So don't feel worried about that or anything. I'm just here to try to get information to you guys so that you can enjoy a wonderful crafting experience. So love, hugs, and prayers to all of you guys. Stay safe, stay healthy, and I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.